What's going on, guys? My name is Eldon Oro, son of the shit, and welcome to episode 312 of the Midnight Owl. I am joined
312.
today by the cast of That 70s Show, and we're going to sit around at the campfire doing drugs or whatever. That ended up being not in Irish towards the end.
Yeah, no, I don't think any of that was in Irish. It was in some weird robot voice that was very manly sounding. What's going on, guys? My name is Eldon Oro, and welcome to episode 68 of my weekly podcast, The Midnight Hour. This episode is about a sort of... It's hard to explain, and it's a messy episode because I think the concept is a little bit messy, but basically I wanted to discuss the merits of real-life bad guys in the role of villains in movies. And they're not all bad guys. We do talk about people who sort of walk the line between good and bad, figures who are divisive, people who are hated and loved. But as I said, it's a relatively messy episode. But we're a weekly podcast now. It's official. If you're a weekly podcast for 5 weeks, you're an automatically weekly podcast. That's just the way it goes. Anyway, I will not stop promoting the subreddit page for this podcast. It is reddit.com/r/midnight hour. It will be linked in the descriptions of both SoundCloud and YouTube. If you're listening on SoundCloud, you can download it for free as long as you are on a computer. Sadly, they don't let you do it on a phone. But you can have it open on your phone and minimize the window, which is the thing that you can't do on YouTube. And I find that really annoying, so that's why the SoundCloud option is there. If you're listening on YouTube, you can click SoundCloud link. It will be in the description, along with the subreddit for the Midnight Hour, along with the Twitter pages of all of the guests on the show. Obviously, Loosemore did the intro. If you don't know by now, I typed some gibberish to him. He reads it in what he thinks is my accent. And also, Loosemore will have a new microphone for the next episode that he's in, so that's really good. Anyway, the song that opens the episode is Wrong Way, One Way by a band called Reviver. That's R-V-I-V-R. They're a very hard band to actually buy the album of, but I'd recommend having a look around and buying the album because it's really good. They're sort of a punk rock band. And I just really like their sound. I think this song is really good. It's probably the best one on the album, but it's really cool anyway. And it's literally just the song because I liked it. Anyway, speaking of liking things, I hope you guys like this episode. And if you do, leave a like on SoundCloud and YouTube and all of that stuff. I'm so sick of the sound of my own voice now. I hope you're not, because you're about to hear like an hour of it. But anyway, enjoy the podcast.
Power in the verse can stop me.
Hello,
What's going on, guys?
You've done it once.
What?
Twice.
What episode is this? I didn't check. It's 68,
Not
I think.
312.
Welcome to episode 312 of the podcast. I'm joined today by Loosemore
Hello.
and Jack Brown,
Alright.
and by popular demand, returning from 2 weeks ago, it's Aaron, the fan.
Hello.
And that's how he sounds.
He's a person, not
Popular
a
demand.
rotating fan.
Really popular demand. I got at least 2 tweets.
I think
There
it
was
was
over.
3.
There was somewhere between 1 and 3 comments,
Yeah,
and one of them was him.
and the
One
other
thing's
2 were
not
sent
me.
by him, so...
It's
That's
ironic the only
Fan
reason he's here is
club.
because of my fan, and he is a fan.
That's not irony, but it is weird.
Not true either.
I don't know how words work.
That's true, yeah. They don't have those in Wisbech, where Loosemore is from.
Loosemore's calling us from an Indian call centre.
I don't know why you'd say that, because Indian call centres are notoriously high-quality call centres.
Yeah.
Is this not a good...
No, it's
Cool.
fine.
No, it's just the way you're speaking in an Indian accent and you're speaking broken English. I think that's what the joke was about. That's really weird.
It's because you're trying to tell me to fix my computer.
Do you guys want to hear a great anecdote that I have managed to work my life into over the last week since we last spoke?
Nope.
Well, not. I mean, to be honest, no. But I mean, just tell us anyway. It'll be good for the podcast.
Good podcasting.
I can't even sway this now. It's 2-1, even if I go with it. But go on.
Don't vote.
Draw favourites the host,
You
usually.
haven't done enough podcasts to have a vote yet.
I'm on work experience.
Yeah, Aaron is an intern at the Midnight Hour headquarters, so yeah, anyway, I work in a retail bank in anti-money laundering, and it's absolutely fine. I'm quite good at it, but it doesn't pay anywhere near enough money to like live and stuff. So I applied for a job in an investment bank because I used to work for a shareholders registrar and now work for a retail bank, so I think if you combine the two, like, that makes an investment banker. So this job was for 35 grand a year, so it'd be a significant step up for me, and it's also closer to my house, and it's stuff that I'm really good at. And for like background information, I'm not arrogant, and like I'm barely even confident most of the time, but I'm fucking deadly at job interviews. Like, I will just destroy any job interviewer with knowledge and information, and when they ask tough questions and I don't know what to say, I just tell them I'll destroy ISIS, because that's what Donald Trump does. But
Nice.
I went down to this interview anyway, and they started off, I met the guy from the job agency I applied through, I met the receptionist who knew my name, I met the overall team leader of the 4 offices, I met him, he knew my name, went to meet 4 other senior managers who all introduced themselves to me and knew me by my first name. Went into the interview, they were like, tell me about yourself. So there was 2 women interviewing me, and they both had my CV in front of them, and I started telling them about my CV from the earliest, like, I went to college in Scotland, worked for a company that owns a major retail chain, all this stuff, all of it, every single thing that I've done up until this point. And that took about 20 minutes. And then they started asking me competency-based questions, like, name a time when you had to compromise as part of a team, or, you know, name a time you went above and beyond for a customer, that kind of thing. And I fucking aced all of those questions, and they were delighted with absolutely everything I said. And they kept on saying stuff like, we will give you a call and you will learn how to do this. We'll show you how to work on this system, and eventually you'll be moved between 2 teams. And I was like, alright, this is all sounding very positive. And then, at the very end, they were like, well, thanks very much for coming, and we'll give you a call this afternoon. And I was like, oh yeah, before I go, do you have any reservations about my profile? And they were like, oh, just one thing we'd like to have cleared up. It says here that you are bilingual in 4 different languages. What are they? And I was thinking to myself, that's a wild lie to make up on your CV. Because you're probably going to have to prove that at some point.
Did you choose one as banter?
No, I just replied and said, si, oui, yeah. No, I said, what? Because, like, sometimes I apply for jobs in the UK, and I say on there that I speak Irish fluently, because, like, yous aren't going to fucking know. And then I was, like, looking really confused, and the woman went, are you Jason? And I was like, no, I'm El De Niro. And she was like, okay, well, thanks, we'll give you a call. And I was like, do you want to see my CV? Like, I definitely have the experience in this field. And they're like, oh, it's no problem at all. Ushered me out of the room, and I never heard from them again.
So if you'd stayed with being Jason, they would have fired you.
Well, they would have called Jason, wouldn't they? They wouldn't have had my phone number. So
Yeah,
they-
but your CV, and you went along with what they were saying.
Yeah, but surely what you were saying wasn't what was on the piece of paper anyway.
Jason
That's
CV,
right.
yeah.
And at no point did either of the two women interviewing me say, well, that's not on here. Like,
Yeah.
like there's no way that I went through.
Jason
literally-
went to college in Scotland.
Yeah. Like I went through like
he lived the same life as you.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Same haircut, same agency, has the exact same address. Fucking weird. But yeah, so like I spoke about my YouTube stuff in that interview, and like there's no way that Jason has, even if he has a YouTube channel, he definitely hasn't bullshitted to make it sound as good as my imaginary one is when I'm in interviews.
I mean, did they look disappointed with the YouTube stuff? I
No,
mean,
they
heads
were
dropped
fucking
there.
delighted. They were like, "Oh, so you have entrepreneurial spirit?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, I do. I'm really good at having friends with lots of subscribers."
Yeah, you
But,
told him about your failed YouTube channel. Said, yeah, that's really promising.
Yeah, well, I told them, look, I have 13 million YouTube views, and at one point I had 35,000 subscribers. So
I've had 33,000 followers 5 times.
yeah, how many other people can say that? Probably not many in the world, right? So yeah, like they didn't question it whatsoever, and like that's such a fucking spineless thing to do. Like if I were interviewing someone and I noticed even one discrepancy based on what they were saying, surely you want to see how they react under pressure. You know what I mean? Like it's so weird. I
Pressure would have
interviewed-
been you pretending to be speaking
When
4
was the
different
last
languages.
time you had to compromise on the interviewer holding someone else's CV
Yeah.
in front of them?
I wanted to call them back and be like, all right, look, I want another interview, and I was really gonna do it, and then I just thought, fuck it. Like, do I even want to work for a fucking company that's gonna fuck up on that level? Like, I met 4 senior managers who were all like, El De Niro, we know who you are. Like, and then in the interview room, they're like,
But hang on,
Jason.
I don't get how they.
Wait, they said
had
your
40
name,
managers.
and then
They said your name, and then at the very end, he said you're not Jason.
See, I got introduced to 4 senior managers who led me into the interview room, but they didn't say, here's El De Niro. They just said, here you know what I mean? Like, here's where you'll be. And they were like,
I see.
hello.
It's just
Yeah.
the interviewers that did. Oh, okay.
They probably
So-
also didn't call you by El De Niro.
Well, they did, because that's
No,
my
they
name.
definitely did.
Yeah. That's
Well,
what I have on my
it should have
CV.
been El Don Niro.
El De Niro,
Oh,
son of...
El De Niro, son of a shit.
Son of shit.
Yeah, so that's my anecdote, and I guess if that were a movie, the Faceless Corporation would be... I would be like the guy in the romantic comedy who has just been rejected by every girl. And
Oh, funny stories.
yeah. So,
So what's the
Think-
moral of the story?
bitches
Don't
be
go
shit.
to job interviews.
Yeah, don't ever try to better yourself. Because life will fuck you up, pal. Your expectations should be low, alright? You should be thinking to yourself, well, I'll never get a promotion because job interviews are ridiculous, but, you know, I might eat this bowl of Cheerios and finish the whole lot of them today. I think
When
if...
life gives you lemons, assume they belong to Jason.
Yeah, that's right.
I think
Yes, that's exactly it. Yeah.
When life gives you lemons, buy that Beyonce album called Lemonade, because it's very good. And she's the best. And she is the queen of all the women.
Queen Bee.
She rules them all like a super villain.
Oh.
Oh.
I don't like that he's coming on here and doing things like that.
Yes.
You're making the podcast better. It's ridiculous.
We have laws against that in this country.
Yeah.
So, has anyone done an ounce of research into our topic today?
I mean, sort of.
Alright, look,
Okay.
I just talked
Okay,
for like 10 minutes
The
straight. So,
intern clearly has.
yeah, let's give
I'm
you...
gonna look at what tabs I've kept open.
Oh, look, you don't have to play it off like you're not really happy to be here. I mean, like, obviously when this episode is done, we will discontinue this relationship and never talk again. But I think that while you're here, you should at least act like you are also the host of the show.
Speak for yourself.
You started showing some fucking respect, boy.
Jack Brown will get his boys after you.
I've got binders full of boys who will sort you right out.
I think Jack Brown is kind of like a villain of real life. I think
We've
in
been
this
on a
podcast, like, I'm like Luke Skywalker. Like, the protagonist And Loosemore is like Han Solo, who should be the protagonist because he's that little bit funnier and more interesting and like more charming, but ultimately Luke has the stronger backstory, which I have as like the guy who made the podcast. And Jack Brown is a little bit like Chewbacca, like he's like, you know, he's mostly comedic relief, but when you need him to do something, he'll fucking do it. Like, you need a big call or a big decision or a big quote or comment, Jack Brown's there. And then Aaron is like...
You're welcome.
I'm the child from the first one that retired at the age of 9.
Nah, you're one of those animals that they add in CGI for like the 30th. Like, you know,
Wookiee.
you've got like no backstory or anything like that.
There's a little bush Wookiee.
A little Jawa that was added in post-production.
Is it a Wookiee?
Yeah,
You're a
an
Wookiee.
Ewok. Yeah, one of the
Ewok.
Ewoks in the forest,
There's
actually.
a little bush Ewok, yeah.
Yeah, that would work too. Because you have to develop your own backstory. And that is your...
Prove yourself as a strong, independent woman.
Yeah. Like Beyonce.
Yep.
Which takes me back to the topic of today's episode.
Beyonce.
Beyonce.
Real life Beyonces.
If
There's
only
only
we
one for
had
reference.
one of those for reference. Anyway, for real, Aaron, give us one of your villains and justify why,
Wait, shit, where
in
am
your
I?
own words,
Pressure's on here.
that they're
What have I...
Step
Oh yeah,
up.
so you said do it on people you hate, so I couldn't think of any, and I googled people I hate.
Okay, this is a more
Um,
interesting topic right here. Why don't you hate anyone? What's
That's-
wrong with
No,
you?
it's just you said it, and then I did it on the whenever it was that you said
I
it.
hate
I couldn't think of
99
anything like straight away.
I hate 99% of the people I come across.
Yeah, I
I
hate
don't know.
I hate
99.
all
Like,
the people I
they're
haven't
not-
come across.
Most of them aren't gonna make interesting points to talk about, though, are they?
I hate 99% of the people in this call.
Wow. There's a lot more people in this call than I thought.
Who is the 1%?
Yeah. Who is
Um,
the 1%?
so you don't hate anyone?
I probably do, but
How do you not
This
know
is
this
just-
about yourself?
no, this was just more interesting.
We can't tell you whether you hate someone.
Yeah. How on the fence do you need to be? Come down, give us an opinion on something, commit to something.
Drop to our level.
I'm going to do this first, right? The first thing that came up was top 10 most hated people. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Adolf Hitler was number 2.
That's higher.
Number 2.
Yeah, that is high.
Don't
Yeah.
worry. I'm just going to scroll down
I
before.
think I get a number one spot he's really after.
Yeah, he's
Osama
gutted,
bin
isn't he?
Laden,
Yeah.
number 3.
It'd be cool in
Joseph
his
Stalin,
grave.
number 4. Number 1 was Justin Bieber.
Oh, for
Well, no.
crying out loud.
No.
That.
No.
What's
takes
the
away
date
whole
on that
credibility.
list? I bet you it's like
Research
2000.
has gone well.
What's the date on the list?
I think it just gets updated regularly, but
I don't think
People
that's
just
true
don't
because
like
Justin
Justin.
Bieber is
Power
definitely
rankings.
like a.
Power rankings of hate.
Power rankings of hate. This is what the episode title should be. Power rankings of
And
hate.
Hitler's still two, still clinging on.
Still 2. Yeah.
What can Hitler do at this point to overtake Justin Bieber? Do you think?
Not a lot.
Yeah.
it's got reviews about them as well. So
It's like you can't weigh up, bring out 3 or 4 shit songs and kill 6 million Jews.
Yeah.
Neck and neck, as far as I see it.
And Justin
fair-
Bieber's shit songs to good songs ratio is shady as well because he does have bad songs, that's not in doubt, but he's got at least 6 good songs right now.
I can't even see.
Yeah.
I can't even see Hitler as a real life villain. It's past the point of being a real life villain, isn't it?
oh, okay.
He's not
He's
bad
been
enough.
dead
So
way
I'm-
too long.
I'm struggling to see how you're gonna justify that, but yeah, they've got
Yeah, I'm saying he was on something actually.
there's comments on it. So it's more people have committed suicide since his rise to fame.
The whole credibility of this.
To do with Justin Bieber or just in the world?
In the world, but they attributed it to Justin Bieber.
No.
Loosemore, that
Oh,
question
God.
makes no sense. Because nobody knew
mean?
him before he was famous, so they're not going to commit suicide because of him. Just now he's famous. they
Well,
commit-
that's not quantifiable, really. I mean, you could have a person that just feels really depressed and they don't know why. Science can't say definitively that is not because of Justin Bieber, can they?
Exactly.
Let me just Google the science.
no, get off Google. Fucking cheating.
Stop Googling things.
I'd love to see him actually say, the science.
Design. Defiant. Stop
Yeah.
cheating.
I failed science anyway.
Me too. No, I didn't actually.
I got a D.
I got a D.
A D is a
I've got a
pass.
C.
Fail.
It is now. You got to get C's.
You failed.
Wait, no, did I get a C?
It was like a year ago. You should know.
I got a C. No, it was this summer. Just
Oh
gone.
my
You
god.
definitely should know.
Oh, you're the worst
Sweet,
podcast
sweet
guest.
I
heaven.
passed biology. That was it. I failed the other two.
Well, biology is a science.
Oh.
1 out of 3 is not bad.
That's what Meatloaf didn't say.
Yeah. So close, mate.
I'd love it if Meatloaf made a follow-up song that was like 1 out of 3 is bad. You
Yeah.
should be sad. But, right, so I guess we're just gonna fucking talk about Donald Trump then, aren't we? That's pretty much the only avenue we have left to explore here in this
He's not on
catastrophe.
the top 10, so I'm not sure we can.
And you said it was
It's not
updated
power
regularly.
rankings.
What do you think updated
Yeah.
regularly means?
Well, surely.
Well, it said like stuff about a couple of months ago. It said something about like August 2016 on the Justin Bieber one. So
August, but he
like
released
Obama's 5,
Oh,
someone I've
Jesus.
never heard of 6, Kanye's 7,
Okay, this list has no
Kim Kardashian
credibility.
8,
Oh my god.
Who was 8?
Kim Kardashian,
Get out.
Yeah.
Miley Cyrus 9, and George W. Bush 10.
Jesus
Oh my
Christ.
God.
What kind of backward... Whoever made that list is absolutely a Republican. I can
Absolutely
100% guarantee that.
All this anti-Bieber.
It's like it gets confused about what sort of list it is every fucking time
Yeah.
he adds one on.
Anybody who's like, yeah, in the top 10 worst people ever alive in the history of the planet, definitely Obama and Kim Kardashian are on there. If you have that as your viewpoint, you are absolutely a Republican conservative. Like, I don't think that that's disingenuous or like that I'm taking a big leap to say that. Like, fucking...
There's more than just Donald Trump around, though, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, Vladimir Putin.
Who's a terrible person, yeah.
So the way I was thinking,
Surely that Martin Shkreli.
Who?
You know the guy who raised the price of all them.
I thought you were trying to
Right.
say Martin Shkreli.
Is it Shkreli?
What did you say?
I thought it was Shkreli.
Oh right, I
thought
thought
it
you
was
said
Silent H.
really. Yeah, he's on my list as well. Interestingly, I don't know why I said as well. You don't have a list, but the way I was thinking of approaching this topic was to think of the different genres of movie that there are and the different types of villains that exist in those movies. So like Martin Shkreli would absolutely be the villain of a sort of an independent drama movie where the protagonist is like probably a female because they tend to be in like the lower budget movies, and she like really needs a drug to survive. But the evil, faceless, actually he would look better if he were faceless, villain.
Evil faces come about, yeah.
Yeah,
Good
Martin
growth.
Shkreli is like, yeah, I'm gonna buy all the Wu-Tang albums and I'm gonna create a presence for myself on the internet where I say absolutely insane things, and I'm also gonna raise the price of drugs and completely be smug and irritating and obnoxious about it, and that's pretty much him.
And somehow he wasn't on that power ranking of hate.
Yeah, because the person who made it is delighted, because the person who made it loves AIDS.
Doesn't have the illness that needs them drugs.
They think that
Yeah,
AIDS
but I
is-
just think the person who made that list is clearly like not that educated. They've
Yeah,
just
who-
gone
yeah.
like, oh,
Aaron, was
it
it
was
you
the
who made
name
this?
Hitler.
I can confirm I had no part in making this list.
That's good.
Yeah, but that's what someone who did have a part in making the list would say.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, I feel like they'd be quite proud though.
No, they
Like, it's
wouldn't.
made it onto the Midnight Hour podcast.
It is a good podcast. I've definitely heard of it before. But yeah, so this guy raised the price of Thiola from $1.50 to $30 per pill, and people have to take 10 to 15 pills of it a day. So someone was previously spending like $15 on the pill is now having to spend like $350 on it.
Which is a
of-
scumbag.
it is a scumbag thing to do. And what makes him even more applicable to like an independent drama or like a low budget movie is that like he's not a faceless corporation or anything like that. Like, he's a guy
Yeah.
on the internet who's just actively bragging about what he's doing. Like, if it's a faceless corporation, you're just sort of left with the delusion that, like, well, that's the way of the world, and if you asked anyone about it, they'd be like, oh, well, you know, the market, inflation. He's just like, yeah, I'm a baller, and I'm making all this money.
Yeah, he goes, I'm a businessman, I do it for money.
Yeah. So he, like, I think if we were to have some kind of list that is good, and not like the one that Aaron got, I'd put him at number 10, possibly, in terms of villains that are alive.
Yeah, but then you got to think of Niall Moore.
Well, how well he suits the movie, though, is like, I could see that happening. And at the very end, she confronts him, and he just doesn't care or learn from it at all, because he has no conscience, clearly, and he's a psychopath, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a bad dude.
Cool.
That's quite the input.
I'm glad that we
Cannot
all...
disagree.
Wow. Fucking... And people are like, why isn't this podcast up every week? Like, do you see what I'm fucking dealing with?
Wow.
So no one else has anything to add on him now.
No, I brought it up. I did my work.
How could he redeem himself? There's a question.
I think you can now. Now that he is one of these people who is like, he's almost become an internet personality now.
Yeah, he's synonymous with, like, I mean, he could, like, kill himself, I guess, and then, like, that'd be it, but, like...
Jesus Christ,
Redeem himself by killing himself. That's not a redeeming feature.
Fucking hell.
Yes, it is. If you, like, rid yourself from the world, just people are like, yeah, that's probably the right thing to do, you know? Just not a good dude.
You had time
Like,
to research ISIS philosophies, but not, like, the actual podcast.
Aaron with the burial.
I didn't research that, I just share the same
Aaron.
things.
He's got to fit in time to cook chicken as well.
Yeah. Takes 45 minutes to cook chicken.
I cannot believe you're a fucking villain of this podcast, Loosemore, in all
You
honesty. Aaron, tell us about your experience so far, in your understanding that you were going to be a guest on this episode, and how long of a span, in terms of weeks, that it took.
I'm going to go on my DMs quickly.
Okay.
God.
I'd have to research everything.
Every day I'd be like, yeah, alright, we're recording tonight, and then Loosemore, like, last minute is like, oh, I've contracted AIDS again. Would you believe it?
Yeah,
I think one of the weeks it was Jack, to be fair.
That
Like,
happened
it wasn't.
twice last week.
I didn't.
Yeah, it did.
It's never me.
Tuesday and...
Yeah.
Last week it was Jack. Last week it was you, because you said something about your computer wasn't working.
Yeah, but I said it after you
You said it
to
after,
make
yeah,
it.
and he was
You
still
cunt.
prepared to do it over the phone.
Fucking do one, prick.
Well, then fine, I'll take the blame. Whatever.
You
So-
take that. You take that L and you walk away, mate.
Thanks. I'm taking that to the bank.
I didn't
Where I
mean
work.
you. I meant L as in loss.
Oh.
You-
I thought you meant take that as in you can take comfort in the fact that Loosemore has admitted that he is bad.
That's what I
No,
thought you were
I'm-
saying.
And
Yeah.
that there was
I
only
just-
one way
I
to
just
redeem
resent-
himself.
I just resent his liars.
Interestingly, the L in El De Niro doesn't stand for loss.
Does stand for loser though.
It does have an E in front of it.
That's not. That's. I think Martin Shkreli is terrible because he bought that Wu-Tang Clan album, of which there was only one copy made, and he bought it for $2 million, and he doesn't even like rap music, even though he pretends that he does. And when Kanye was releasing The Life of Pablo in February, he fucking tweeted like, Kanye, I will offer you $10 million for your album if you don't release it. And then he tweeted all this shit like, oh, well, under contract law, he's legally required to take that to his investors and his label, so that's actually going to delay the release of this album. And, like...
He's that
his
sort of
fucking label.
person.
But, like, that straight up did not happen. Like, the album came out, like, an hour later. And Martin Shkreli was like, oh, well...
And then he continued to change it for 2.5 months.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true, yeah. That's strange.
I've still got the original one on my phone.
Yeah, I got it...
I don't know what version I've got.
It's
I
the
bought it
original
from
It's
and
the
Portal.
latest one.
I bought it from a portal on his website, which they shut down like the day after. So I think I've got like one of the only versions of like that version of it.
I think you got the same one as me. Cause
I don't think mine's like a real version. It's got Chance the Rapper on Waves. No, okay, this is fake.
Chance the Rapper does have. There's a remix.
There's a version of it, yeah. That's the version I've got, and I don't think that was ever released properly.
Probably not, no. But I think Chance actually wrote on that track.
Yeah, that one other.
He told Kanye.
He's still on Ultralight Beam, and then he was on one other as well.
Well, Ultralight Beam.
Kanye West isn't a villain.
Do you not think?
No, not at all.
Alright, I think if you were making...
He could be, depending on how it's done.
Yeah, if
he's got power over so many people, if you think about it.
But not even a villain in that sense, but like, have you seen the movie Get Him to the Greek?
No.
But it's not very good at all, but it's sort of a comedy set around a record label, and P. Diddy is in it, and he's phenomenal in it. But it's very wacky and all over the place, and there's no real villain in it per se, but like... P. Diddy does like push a lot of people around in it, and he's an important like label exec, and I could see that, like I could see there being a comedy about a record label where Kanye is there and just everyone has to adhere to his outrageous demands, like, oh guys, Kanye's recording in the studio, we need to have 117 bottles of this specific type of red champagne that costs.
But that's not being villain, that's just being egotistical.
That's just being Kanye.
Yeah, but like that's a villainous trait if we're talking about in a movie, which was what I was...
But I think a villain has to do something that hurts people. That.
Yeah, I was thinking more like mind control with like... You've already seen how he's...
What the fuck are you talking about?
He's changed his album like after it's come out more than anyone else has ever done.
Because it wasn't ready.
Hold on. How do you leap from that to mind control?
Yeah, what happened there?
Who else is going to do shit like that? Fucking mind control shit. I'm so unprepared for this.
I still don't get how that constitutes... What do you think mind control means?
The power to control someone's mind.
Okay.
How does that
I mean, he knows what mind control is, I just don't think he's applying it here.
That's not the correct application of the term.
Right.
I don't think someone changing their album in real time specifically constitutes mind control.
No, but it's a film. It's not got to make proper, like, real world sense.
Okay. So in the movie, he goes back and adds messages into his album?
Yeah. I don't know. Fuck it.
I think someone should give you a blank page and say, write me a screenplay.
A noose.
And $60 million. Alright, there's been too much fucking suggestive suicide references here in this episode so far.
Not enough actual
suicide. This is what I signed up for.
Usually we limit that to one per episode.
Kanye West is not a villain.
Okay.
I think if you can make a claim that he is, I think, a villain. I mean, if you're going to make a claim that Donald Trump being an egotistical, like, megalomaniac is like the ultimate villain, like Kanye West has the same traits. Like, he's not on the same level if he wants to be fucking president, but he probably does want to be fucking president.
I'm not sure
he's that level.
Kanye.
What do you mean, not sure what?
I don't think he's like...
I don't ever want to see Aaron's fucking internet history.
I don't think he's misogyn... Well, I can't really... He's a rapper. I suppose I can't say. I've actually... As soon as I was saying that, I could just hear some of his lyrics. Like, on that track Runaway, he goes... found pictures in my email. I sent this bitch a picture of my dick. And then he goes, I don't know what it is with females, but I'm not too good at that shit. Like, how about you don't send them pictures of your dick?
I was just, the tab I had open about Kanye was the original version of Famous getting leaked.
Oh, yeah.
The original lyrics that were even worse.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was that? Which one was that?
Taylor Swift will have sex with me. That was the correct lyrics.
Oh, that's that's one I've got.
Yeah, that's on the main one as well.
No, but he changed the lyrics loads. It was like, that's the other one Chance was originally on. So it came out as, I feel like me and Taylor might still have sex. Why I made that bitch
famous.
Originally, it was, I feel like Taylor Swift still owe me sex.
Oh, right, yeah, that's
and then
bad.
A bit later on, it had, I feel like Amber Rose still owe me sex. Why I made that bitch famous.
That's true.
Not really, but somewhat famous.
He did make her famous.
He did make Amber Rose famous.
Somewhat famous.
But But the Taylor Swift thing is actually a perfect segue into Taylor Swift being a villain, because she's gone from hero to villain real quick. It's like in The Dark Knight Rises when that woman turns out to be Bane's fucking daughter or whatever it is. That's not what it is, but it's some loose thread like that. But yeah, Taylor Swift's turn from like, you know, everyone's favorite pop star to like, well, she's definitely a bitch. When so Kim Kardashian, who is absolutely a hero or a heroine, released the footage of Kanye asking Taylor if he could use that lyric, and her being like, oh yeah, and that's so cool that you'd ask me, and him being like, yeah, well, like, we're friends, and like, I definitely owe you that, and like, I really appreciate the fact that you've said it's okay, because like, I think it's, you know, it's funny and stuff. And she's like, yeah, it is really funny, I think it's a great lyric. Like, I mean, everyone knows that it's coming from a rap perspective and that you don't actually mean it and stuff like that. And then it comes
I think
out,
it means it.
and she's like, this is disgusting, this is the worst, and like, you just have lost that moral high ground because you don't get to be outraged by something that you fucking explicitly allowed to happen.
Leave my Tay-Tay alone.
Why do you like her? Like, we're the
I
Katy
love
Perry
Taylor.
fan club. We hate Taylor Swift now, pal. Don't you know how tribalism works?
If this was that weird chart graph thing that has like circles attaching, I'm right in the middle.
Are you trying to say a Venn diagram?
What Venn diagram?
Yes. I am firmly in the middle of that.
Really? No. I'd say maybe I was, but then Kim Kardashian coming out and bodying Taylor Swift absolutely threw me straight back into Katy Perry town, and it's a great place to be.
Lily released a video on YouTube of me just crying, saying, "Leave Taylor Swift alone."
But it'll have her name in it, so she'll probably have you sued.
Oh.
She wouldn't do that to her biggest fan.
She fucking has.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
poor Taylor Swift. Yeah,
She's not a real life villain.
she fucking is, mate.
You're a villain of
Opinions.
past.
Give us your justification for Kanye not being a villain.
Kanye,
Yeah.
because he doesn't do anything which, like, he doesn't affect people for the worst. For the worst. He
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
make
true.
anyone's lives worse.
The people who are really mad at him are, like, going out of their way to be mad at him.
Yeah, they listen to his music if they don't like it. They search his name on Twitter and shit to find stupid shit that he's done. Like, none of the stuff he does actually affects anyone.
Yeah, and most of the things that people get really mad at him for saying are things that were taken out of context as well. Like, he says so many actually ridiculous things that people don't even bother pulling him up on. But then he'll say something like, I remember one
George
time...
Bush does not care about black people.
That is a fact, though.
That is amazing.
Yeah, that's one of my favourite videos ever in the world. But he wasn't wrong when he said that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And
he's
that's
not,
why he's number 10 on the most hated people.
Because whoever made that is literally...
Kanye was above him. That didn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that whole list didn't make sense.
Let's leave the list. Let's
Yeah,
leave it.
close the tab,
I've closed it down already.
Okay.
close your laptop.
Loosemore, give us a villain. You're good at this stuff, and you haven't said anything for a while.
Who's a villain?
Well, you're ready for this.
Yeah, I'll do my homework.
How about
will
Russell
not-
Crowe kicking
Oh, yeah.
Azalea Banks out of his hotel room?
Let's not call Russell Crowe a villain. I think, you know, he's the hero we all need. He's never hurt anybody except that time he beat people up and threw a phone at someone. But that's only because they deserved it. Like, he didn't, you know. Also, he was in Gladiator, so that counts.
Okay.
That counts twice.
He's been involved,
Against
he's
him.
not a villain.
Against
So he
yeah.
can never be a villain in real life.
Yeah, it's true. Like, Donald Trump has never been in Gladiator, that's why he's a villain. I mean, so he kicked Azalea Banks out of a party, so, like, she probably deserved it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm camp Russell Crowe.
She's marching head first into fucking villain. I don't know who marches head first. That's not a thing that's possible to do.
She'll be bald in 2 months. She's heading for a Britney.
Oh, I thought you were saying
I know what you
bored.
meant.
I thought you were saying the word bored.
No, I did in the first place, but I then changed it to bored.
Okay.
I meant bored. I just said bored.
Yeah, she's gone a bit mad, isn't she?
Yeah.
Poor Azalea Banks.
Poor little white kid.
You were thinking of Iggy Azalea here, aren't you?
That's not correct.
Who's thinking of Iggy Azalea?
Jack, he just said poor little white kid.
Yeah,
He said
Azalea
he was
Banks
talking
is
to
not
me.
white.
What?
I don't know who I'm talking about.
This is the worst podcast.
Sorry.
It happens every week. This is the worst one. How does this keep getting worse?
When you think you hit rock bottom.
And like, I picked like the easiest topic that you didn't even have to do any fucking research on. It's literally just name a person that you hate, and you're all just like, and fucking one guy had to Google people that he hates.
He's googled everything.
He's
You can't
Googling to
Google-
make sure that
you can't-
that's true.
You can't Google who do I hate.
Loosemore, just pick a person that you hate and talk about them.
Aaron has a point insofar as I don't care enough about like world politics really to hate like the guy in charge of Syria. Do you know what I mean? Like he's obviously quite a bad villain. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, but he's not like a movie villain because
yeah, exactly. Like he would be like he's so unrealistically bad that he
he
wouldn't even
doesn't
be in a
tick the
movie.
boxes of like what and like villains have to do certain things like Vladimir Putin is a great example of one because like sophisticated white villains who are rich always
Like yeah,
have...
Donald Trump ticks all the boxes of villain, but like a guy who like has a Hitler mustache and kills his own people, he's like too villainy. You know, it's not. If that's
Wouldn't
a thing.
make for a good
You know what I
film.
mean?
Well, Donald Trump is too
Yeah,
goofy.
exactly.
Like Donald Trump would be a villain in like a satirical movie or a parody movie, whereas Vladimir Putin would legit be a Bond villain. Because
It'd be like, what was that shit one about North Korea?
what?
About Kim Jong Un and shit.
What that he
Kim America?
that he murdered his uncle or something.
No, the film that never got the cinematic release.
Oh,
The Interview.
interview.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like that for Donald Trump.
That was a terrible film, though.
Well, yeah, obviously it's James Franco and Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
The two fucking worst things happening to cinema right now. But yeah, that would be like along the lines of like something goofy and wacky where the even the villain is wacky and stupid, but the heroes are too stupid to do anything about it. Whereas like Hillary Clinton is like the villain of like a dystopian fiction movie, I guess, because everyone hates her. And yet
Yeah, it's a weird because of she's too political. Do you know what I mean? Everyone hates her because she's involved because it is an angsty thing against politics. Like most people now are against politics, so they've turned to Donald Trump and like he's like a cartoonish guy who has like weird like.
He's not a politician, but he might become president. Like.
Yeah, but they've like in Batman, like they say they've turned to a guy they truly don't understand because of Batman. Essentially, they've kind of done that to Donald, like because they're so anti. Like she was married to the president, and she is in like she was Secretary of State for like 10 years. Like she's been involved in politics, so they turned to Donald Trump in like he looks like a fucking clown. Let's just go the opposite way, you know. So,
but go on, Jack.
It's generally quite scary that the two choices for president are fucking like no one like obviously Trump should not be fucking president, but then but then Hillary Clinton should be nowhere near the fucking presidency either.
Why do you say that out of interest?
I've read enough.
What have you read?
I mean, all this shit, like, I know, obviously, Trump goes on about emails and that, but I reckon she's got so much dirt around her.
But, like, none of it was released in the emails, and the FBI cleared her of any wrongdoing there.
I think, like, you can find, like, dubious things about her, like, the worst, like, the Benghazi shit. Like, it's probably
she had
any other...
nothing to do with Benghazi, though. She wasn't Secretary
Right,
of State.
no, but I'm saying, but by proxy, almost by being a person at that center of that thing, even if she didn't have anything to do with it, that's raised concerns for people. But in any other election, she wouldn't be anywhere near. The only reason she is, I guess, is because Donald Trump is the opposing person. But
I mean,
she's done nothing wrong, arguably, because they cleared her of everything. But
it's a total loss for the Republicans this election. Like they can't
because they really could have.
They've got someone.
But like Hillary's not that.
But then again, with the Republicans, the rest of them that were up for it weren't any fucking good either.
I think in another world, like Hillary could be running for the GOP seat. Like she is not that liberal, like in a lot of ways. Like in fact, lots of liberals disagree with like a lot of her policies and stuff. But I just like I don't really follow American politics that deeply. Like I really just have like a sort of a passing interest in it because America's batshit insane to me as an outsider from a neutral country. But I don't understand why people say stuff like Trump is or Hillary's just the lesser of two evils, or like, well, Hillary's bad, Trump is just worse. Like I don't get what it is about Hillary that has everyone sort of under the impression that she is definitively not good. Like what is
she's not definitively, like, people are just against politics in America right now. And I think globally there's like an anti-politics stance, just because people are like Brexit, obviously, like people just are so like fuck you towards politics. So we just randomly voted out of Europe because we were like, Poland.
Yeah, I agree. I completely agree with that assessment too. I think
and that's
it's absolutely
the scary
right.
thing. The fact that we managed to, as a country, vote for Brexit. Like, there's no saying that America won't vote for Donald Trump.
Exactly. They more than likely, there's a 50-50. That fucking country is split essentially, like down the middle. So I mean, there's a good chance that he will. But
Hillary will crush him.
There's nothing.
Hillary should win it.
She'll crush him. She's crushing him in all opinion polls, and she's never been popular, as I just said. Like everyone has hated her for a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
And like I don't understand why. Like, I cannot think of a more, and this is honest to God, I cannot think of a more appropriate candidate for presidency than Hillary Clinton. Like, she has been prepped for this role for the last, 15 years. Like,
the thing that always cracks me up about American politics is you get someone like Obama who, when it came down to, the debates between her and Hillary, he fucking trashes her and slags her off. And then it comes to 4 years later, it's like, yeah, I endorse Hillary because she's the woman that should take the country forward. Yeah, no, but it just cracks me up.
It's too evil, so from that.
This stuff isn't
if he doesn't want it.
Well, who else is he going to endorse? It's a two-party system, and he's definitely not.
But that's why it looks a broken system, like the thing Jack is just saying. But that's why people are so fed up with politics, because it is so backhanded and so people just. They see that, what Jack just said, and be like, well, that doesn't make any fucking sense. These two people are just at each other's throats. They don't agree with each other. And now he's like, she's the best person for the job. You don't think that, clearly. You're just saying that. So people are, anti... she is the best person for the job, no matter what you say. But,
she is.
It's just... people are just anti that whole thing. She's been in politics 25 years. She was married to... maybe, ultimately, if she wasn't married to Bill Clinton, maybe she would be better off. I don't know.
Yeah, I imagine over there a lot of the hate comes from Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I wonder, because
there's a lot of Republicans who just don't like Bill Clinton.
I've been trying to think why do people have this reservation about her that no one can explain? Everyone is like, oh, the emails and oh, Benghazi. She's been cleared of wrongdoing in both of those things, so it's not that. So there's obviously something. I don't think it's that she's a woman either. And I say that.
I think maybe they think she's weak for being cheated with on. Bill Clinton.
Yeah,
exactly. Being cheated on. Yeah.
I think people are mad that she stayed with Bill Clinton and stuff like that. Maybe they think that she did that for her own to game the system and to.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was a case of she at the time she was saying I'll forgive you and I'll save you, but for the rest of my life, I'm going to make it my aim to be the president, and you've got to support me whatever happens.
Yeah, but how likely is that? As a
probably pretty likely.
I wouldn't say.
Sounds like blackmail, but
didn't that happen? Didn't that happen in House of Cards?
Well, then.
Yes, but then
Yeah, I think that's probably where I'm getting the idea from.
But that's based off something. They took that from some real life occurrence, I would imagine. But
yeah,
I don't know. I think Trump is he's a cartoonish, he's the Lex Luthor of real life, isn't he? Like a mad billionaire who wants to rule the world.
Yeah,
he's just power mad. Perfect image of a villain, because he's a fucking billionaire who just spent his money to fuck people over and shit like that.
He has his
Well,
name.
He's literally spent money to fuck people over, fuck like fake people, just fuck everything. Like he's just a fucking idiot. That's what he is.
Hasn't paid taxes since like 1995. Like
yeah,
he's a billionaire and he hasn't paid taxes. Like
he has his name embedded in solid gold on his building.
There's some stuff I quite like, but some of the stuff he just comes out with, like it just makes me laugh. Like when Hillary said something, "Oh, thank God, he's not in charge of a legal system. He's doing a fucking televised debate to probably 30, 40 million people." He goes, "Yeah, you'd be in jail."
100 million people.
Yeah.
And he said you'd be in jail. No candidate.
No joke.
No candidate has ever threatened something like that against another political candidate.
And they'll send one of the other
I thought that
to jail.
must have been fake.
In the West,
there's no way he's actually done that.
Like in the Western world, people don't do that. Like that's literally what Vladimir Putin does, and he actually does jail the people who go up against him. Like it's happened numerous times in Russia. Things that can be explained away, like, oh well, actually he did these crimes, but like obviously Putin was like, fuck you. Because, like...
Yeah, but, like, legitimately Hillary could do the same to him. Like, he hasn't paid his fucking taxes for, like, 20 years. So,
yeah, but I mean...
He should be...
No rich person. Like, Amazon don't pay it. Vodafone don't pay taxes. David Cameron...
Probably. Oh, yeah, there are... Yeah, clearly there are loopholes. Like, there's obviously... there are, but, I mean...
But I think the point of him is saying that that's what he's going to stop. Like, he's in a position where he could stop people doing that, I guess.
Yeah, it was one of the first things that he said when he decided he was going to promote his book and pretend to run for president before shit got real. And he was like, yeah, rich people are going to pay way more taxes and stuff. And then they're like, publish your tax returns. He's like, yeah, I will, if Hillary does. And then Hillary was like, all right, here you go. And then people were like, so she's done it, now publish yours. And he was like, people don't want to see mine. I can't do that. Nah.
That was a rhetorical question.
So, Donald, have you paid taxes in this country? No, that's why I don't pay taxes. I'm being smart with my money. So you've just said you don't pay taxes. I never said that. Donald, you said it 40 seconds ago. No, I didn't.
It's like the worst thing is that Hillary's being held to a much higher standard than he is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's the thing.
That's the scary thing.
Yeah, that's completely true.
Like
I think honestly, if she'd said half of the things he'd said, she would have dropped out by now out of like pressure by the Democratic Party. But I don't think there's any pressure really from the Republican Party to have him step down. Really, like maybe there is a little bit, but he can do what he wants.
It took such a long amount of time for even like one Republican congressman or politician at all to just be like, what the fuck are we doing, lads? Like,
I think it was John McCain. John McCain recently was like, I'm not going to vote for him. But also, I'm not going to vote for Hillary. Like, he's just abstaining from voting, I think.
Yeah, and Trump was like, oh, well, I prefer it when my war heroes don't get captured. Like, fuck you, man. Like, honestly. Yeah. It's so interesting seeing the dynamic between Trump and Vladimir Putin. Because it's like, Vladimir Putin is like an actual legit James Bond villain, and Trump is like a villain from like a joke movie. And it's like, seeing them in real life is like seeing two movies overlap into one ridiculous universe where like...
Yeah.
It's like...
The spoof movie combines with the real movie.
It's like realizing that the spoof movie is actually real life and it's about to get serious, and this is what happens when you take comedy too seriously. Or there's some weird message in there somewhere. But like the fact that Vladimir Putin has like legitimately recruited Donald Trump as a Russian agent... And, like, Trump just doesn't even know that that's what's happening.
It's happening, yeah, exactly.
Like in intelligence terms, in terms of spies and stuff like that, that's absolutely what's happening. Like, they've recruited Trump, like, they've turned him. Like, he doesn't know it, but he has...
As soon as he's sworn into president, he puts his, like, fucking hand on that Bible, like, something will fucking click in his mind, and he'll say, like, and you're like, oh, fuck. And it will, like, everyone will lose their shit.
I must give him the nuclear launch codes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Him and Pence, both of them just being like, well, Vladimir Putin is a strong leader. Like, yeah, the way he does things is... And then they'll turn around and just be like, oh, well, Russia can go fuck themselves. I'll nuke them if I have to and stuff. Like,
yeah.
Geez.
Yeah, how is he able to say this shit?
Yeah, I saw this tweet there yesterday from this bloke who, he was a black guy, and he said, in a statement, there will be riots at the Republican convention, right? That's all he said. Like, it could be a speculative thing, it could be a threat. More than likely, it's just speculation, though, right? It's someone saying, "Oh, if this happens, there'll be this consequence." It's it's just a comment on what he.
It's like the wrestling thing. If John Cena wins, we riot. That sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly, right? But he just said there will be riots, and the FBI visited his house, right? They took it that seriously, and then there was video footage in his tweet of a white guy at a Trump rally saying he will do whatever he can to get Hillary out of power if she gets in. And the interviewer was pressing him like on what he means. And he was like, "Well, if they need me to be a patriot, I'll do anything for my country to get her out." And the guy was like, "Is that a threat?" And he was like, "Take it however you want. If I have to be a patriot, I will." Like, can you imagine a black guy saying that about Trump and not being in jail right now?
Yeah, I know.
It's probably like all the stuff that gets said at all these rallies and stuff like that, and like he was telling the people to beat up that bloke who was kicking off and shit like that.
But it's like the way
how
you're
is
saying,
he able to do that?
You saying that Hillary gets held to a higher standard. It's almost like when I was saying that like Putin is like a serious villain from a serious movie, Trump is a joke one. The media thinks that too. The media thinks that like Hillary Clinton is a politician with like a political agenda. She's got policies. She has ideas for.
Yeah,
like,
but that's the weird thing that like she's almost too political. They think, "Oh, look at her with all her policies." And
no,
think,
it's not.
What?
It's like she is a politician and Trump is a fucking like just a socialite. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they report on Trump as if he's Paris Hilton circa 2003. They don't... With Hillary, it's like, "Oh, Hillary's promised to do this for foreign policy. Oh, Trump has said he's going to grab women by the pussy." It's never, like... Because he has no policies, and he has never said anything, or rather, he said every possible thing about everything. They can't assess him as a political candidate.
It's not even... the debates are nonsense. I've watched, like... In passing, I've watched, like, bits of both of them. And they're not talking about any politics whatsoever, really. They're talking about what's happened, and they're just questioning. Like, it's nonsense. Like, imagine. I don't know how you can really fight with Trump, because he'll just take it to a place that isn't relevant, and then just argue that corner. He'll just like start talking about fucking bears or something. And you think, well, that's got nothing to do with anything. And then he'll say, well, yeah, but bears have everything to do with everything. Like, I'm better than a bear. And then she's like, then she'll start saying, "No, you're not better than a bear." And then it's just like, what is happening?
And then he'll be like, "Bear with me while I beat ISIS."
Yeah, exactly. And then you think it's crazy. I don't know. It's infuriating to watch. Cause...
Some of the stuff he gets questions about, like, it goes, "Oh, what's like Hillary will go through this, like they get 2 minutes each, don't they?" And she'll go on this massive 2-minute speech about what policy she's going to do for this, and then like we'll just cut to him as like a reply and go, "Oh, I've got plans." It's like, okay, what are they? I've got 5 plans.
Yeah. Vote for me and plans. Find out.
Yeah, it's a surprise. It's a gift.
The man has given us more...
It's one of my tricks.
He's given us more plans on how to sexually assault women than he has on how he's going to beat ISIS. And that's
the locker room talk thing was pretty bad. Like, consider, like, he didn't even say it in a locker room. Like, it would have made... If the argument was that he said it amongst male friends at like, a poker game, you could have been like, okay. I mean, within that confinement, like, someone accidentally recorded him saying that.
It's never okay to say, but there's a time and a place where it understands.
But there's a thing between, like, obviously the thing people are talking about is it's sexual assault what he's talking about, which is obviously wrong. But there's crude things to say, which again are wrong. But you say them, they're not. One of them is crude and one of them is sexual assault. But he's doing it on a fucking television show, like being recorded to go out live to people. Like
he's doing it in presidential
It's not locker
debate.
room talk. It's exactly. It's him.
The thing is, he didn't even mention a locker room once, so I don't believe it was locker room talk. Or else he would have said, "This is a locker room," and I didn't hear him mention that. So I think it's disingenuous to imply that it's locker room. Had he said like this is, filmed on a bus talk, then yeah, it would have been true, but that's not what he said. He said locker room specifically, and that's why I'm voting Hillary. But For real, I kind of think that what he said was, when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do whatever you want. Grab them by the pussy. I don't think that means he was bragging about sexually assaulting women. I think it means that he was like, I'm so famous that women throw themselves at me. And that is...
I think he's saying, he's so famous he could. Maybe that he hasn't, but he's so famous that he could.
But I think it's key that he said, when you're a star, they let you do it. Because, like, I know that women do that when they see famous... And, like, men do it too. I'm not saying... Because, like, everyone knows my fucking feelings on feminism, so I don't need to reiterate that. But, like, some women in the presence of famous men throw themselves at them. That is a fact. Like, we're not going to hide away from the fact that women do that. It's true. Like, women can behave.
Why do you think his current wife is married to him?
Exactly, yeah. Like, and yeah. it's a start. People are attracted to stardom, and people respect money. Like, those are just facts. Men do it too. Like, and I'm sure most men who hate Donald Trump or whatever, if they were around him in the right setting, could come around to the idea of him being all right after a conversation with them. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think he's a horrible, disgusting man who never learned the difference between good attention and bad attention, and that's why he just says everything that he does, because he just wants people to know who he is and stuff like that. But, like, that's not to say that if I saw him in person I'd be like, oh, fuck you or whatever, because, like, he is a guy who's worth so much money that you would behave in a different way around him, and that's just a thing about society. Like, so I think him saying, yeah, when you're a star, they let you do it, I think that's pretty true for a lot of... Like, when you're in those types of circles, when you hang around with the people that he hangs around with, it's not like you going into a nightclub and grabbing a woman by her genitalia. It's more like you being in a place where it's built around you, centered around you, everyone caters to your needs, and the girls who are there will happily let you do whatever they want because they want what you've got. And I don't think that's, you know, I think that's a little bit against the grain, because everyone is like, oh, he's a sex monster. I'm sure, I don't think it's wrong to say that he absolutely, statistically, in all probability, has sexually assaulted someone before.
It's not out of the question that he probably has.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Like, what we know about his character, and we can also use what he said to point out that he is definitely a scumbag. I don't think that's disingenuous to say. But I don't think it's fair to be like, yeah, he's a sex monster. I just don't think that's apt, because if we say that, then if we allow that to be like, well, he said this, so he's a sex monster, then we have to make so many other judgments about other people in society and stuff like that, and I just don't think that that's a good path to go down. So I think we should, like, ease off on the whole he's a rapist thing until, you know, a videotape comes out of him bragging about rape.
It's a sort of accusation that shouldn't be fucking flown around anyone until it's proven.
Yeah.
The problem with that sort of thing is, once you're accused, as far as people are concerned, you've done it.
And, like, at the same time, he said it like, he didn't know he was being recorded, right? And, like, I think talk like that is disgusting, and I don't like it, and I don't ever engage in lad banter with any of my mates when they say stuff like that. Like, to be honest with you, that type of thing actually just makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, I'm just not really cool with it. But I've been around people who've said far worse things than that. Like, that's not to say, oh, it's normal, everyone does it. But there is a time and a place where, like, hashtag lads just think it's cool to say things like that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they necessarily...
Yeah, no, there is... I mean, locker room talk is a thing. He's not just made it up.
Yeah, it is.
Like,
yeah.
it exists amongst... But, yeah, no, it does usually take place between, like, 3 or 4 more, like, or more guys who are together.
And I'm not trying to say, like,
just,
like, oh, it's fine, boys will be boys, because that's bullshit. But just... It does have, like, yeah, it's a thing we need to stamp out in society, because, like, it does genuinely make me super uncomfortable when people start saying stuff like that. Like, I really don't like it. It doesn't benefit anybody, but it's a thing that people do, and, like, we kind of have to accept that happens. It doesn't mean we have to endorse it, but if someone makes a comment like that, you can't just say, oh, this guy's a rapist, because it, like, sure, like, it might be appropriating rape culture in some kind of a way, but it was what he thought was a private conversation with him and a guy that he was trying to impress. And, like, that's just... It's pathetic, and it's crude, and it's the sign that he's a scumbag, but it doesn't make him a sexual deviant of some kind, in my opinion.
No, it's just he said something that he shouldn't have said. Yeah. In the confidence that no one was ever going to hear it other than those in that conversation.
Yeah. And his apology was fucking terrible. He said, I'm sorry.
I think yeah. Go on.
He said, I'm sorry if anyone was offended, which is not an apology.
No, he's not sorry for what he's done.
He's not.
About what he's done.
Yeah.
I mean, you shouldn't be offended really by like crude comments because I think that just happens all the fucking time.
Unless it's directed at you.
Yeah. So or unless it exists. I think it's not the use of the word pussy that everyone is like offended by. I think it's the fact that he's bragging about sexual assault. Whether or not he did act out sexual assault, I think it's just that he's bragging about it in a way that like I'm so rich, I could. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
I don't think it's even assault. I think he's bragging about that he's so powerful that women will let him do anything. That's. Like, I don't think he's saying I'm allowed to...
It's like he thinks he's a rapper.
Yeah, it's like he thinks he's fucking, like, Tommy Lee back in the 80s. Do you know what I mean? He's not,
on a fucking yacht.
I know what you mean. That's what he's angling towards. It's him bragging to some guy, Billy Bush, saying, man, I'm so famous that these women throw themselves at me. It's not him saying, oh, I can go up and touch whoever I want. Because that's creepy as fuck. Like, you don't say that to people when you're trying to impress them. Like... You know, consent in these situations is actually, like, super impressive. The fact that women want to be with you, despite the fact that you quite clearly have got a skin graft from your scrotum on your face. Like, I definitely hate Donald Trump, but in this instance, I do feel like to imply he's a rapist for saying something like that is a little bit too far, because... once you start going down that path I do agree that women's rights definitely need to be more prevalent, and we definitely need to be more aware of like sexual assault, and it's definitely hugely underreported, and like that is an absolute fucking disgrace, like from a society point of view. But I don't think Donald Trump was appropriating that kind of culture in what he was saying, and that's not a popular opinion, but I really think that he was just trying to brag to his friend about how famous he is. That's pretty much it.
We'll never understand why these sort of people do what they do.
Yeah.
But once you've been in that life of having women throw themselves at you, it would be hard to adjust to not having that.
Yeah, completely.
And it'd be because you think everyone's going to do it. You must get to the point when you think everyone's going to do it anyway. That you can't really decipher between someone who's just being nice to you or just around you, and someone who's about to throw themselves at you.
Yeah, and this is...
I think, yeah.
Well, I was just going to say this has been...
It's no excuse, but...
Yeah. Like, I mean, this is a guy who thinks he's a self-made man because his dad gave him a, quote, small loan of $7 million loan. $1 million it was. Or maybe it was $10 million, I'm not sure, but, like, that's how he, started.
Was it?
If you Google it, I'm going to fucking murder you.
But yeah, we don't welcome facts on this show.
We don't deal with facts.
But
we just throw out accusations.
We don't take kindly to facts.
Yeah, I just
think the worst thing is that he's not held accountable to anything he says or does. Like Hillary Clinton will be held accountable because she's a woman. Almost guaranteed that it's because she's a woman. Well, and because she, I don't know, maybe it's that, but like he just seems to be able to get away with anything.
I'm not even sure it's because she's a woman. I think it's what I mentioned earlier, in the sense that just in the public consciousness, Hillary's a politician and Trump is a clown, and they're not held to the same standard because Hillary is taken seriously as a politician and not seriously as a personality, and Trump is taken seriously as a personality but not as a politician. Like, if you looked at in the pre-debate thing, CNBC or one of them was like, okay, here's what we need for the debate. Alright, Hillary, you're going to have to smile more. Don't smile too much, smile just the right amount. And also, you're going to have to show us that you're capable of making jokes. Like, be funny around people, use your hands more, just show a bit of personality. Like, and with Trump it was like, stop lying. Like, that was like they weren't like
got plans. Actually, have a plan.
Yeah, that is not. They're not being held to the same standard. Like, Hillary has to do outrageous things to prove to people that she's capable of doing a thing that we all know that she's absolutely capable of doing. But with Trump, it's like, how can he entertain us more than he already has? You know, like, I don't know. It's crazy.
We need more walls.
Yeah. I'd love if like Mexican fucking personality was like, we're gonna build a tunnel and make America pay for it.
I'd love if he built a wall around Hillary Clinton's house.
Yeah, that would be quite something.
What percentage
Make her
of
pay for it.
quote illegal immigrants come in by plane?
You are?
He's not thought about this.
Not many. Cause
what's stopping an Olympic pole vaulter making his way over?
The men with guns who are guarding the border, I'd say.
It'd be like shooting ducks. Like,
see, they don't fly into the country, because if you've ever seen Breaking Bad, when Gus takes Jesse and Mike down to Mexico to leave Jesse down there and work for the cartel, they fly down in the crop duster, and then some shit goes down. Gus wakes up in that medical lab thing that was set up, and Jesse's like, alright, how are we getting back? And Gus is like, we walk 6 miles this way. Many ways back across the border, but only one way back to America. And it's pretty obvious that you can't fly back, because Breaking Bad is life.
Yeah.
And everything in that show, as we all know, is realistic. I have another villain that I think would work in the right setting. And he's kind of in the Kanye mold of, is he a villain or is he a hero? But Conor McGregor, where does he factor in?
Again, nowhere near with him, because he's like a pin-up for people to hate. Like, people don't like him, but it doesn't make him a villain.
People fucking love him, though.
I think people love him, but I think people in UFC, like professional fighters,
people
do
love
not
Trump.
like him.
That's what I mean, right? So if you were making a movie like the sequel to Warrior or something or like some movie about some guy who's a fighter, comes from the streets, played by Jake Gyllenhaal or whatever, like him in Southpaw, that kind of character. And who is he going to want to beat the most? It's Conor McGregor, because if you know anything about UFC, you hate Conor McGregor, because he's attracted all these people to the sport who know nothing about UFC. He's a weight division bully. He just never stops interrupting people and like shouting at them on the microphone and just being really unpleasant and unsportsmanlike and stuff like that. So like, if you were making a movie, he would be the perfect villain to go up against for the title at the end of the movie. And then of course get defeated badly in what would be a sad ending, we call it in Hollywood. But I think he'd work really well in that role, because he just embodies that sort of persona. Like, he's outrageous.
He's the Ivan Drago like character, like the almighty champion, but like he's just really annoying. But that's not, I guess, because that's not the same. Because in the Rocky movies, like Ivan Drago wasn't like that charismatic, but you know what I mean. That character that you build up to fight at the end, because like he's just annoying as fuck. You know what I mean? Like. Yeah, like but he's not annoying. Like he's like charming and like charismatic, but like the underdog guy would always go up against somebody like that. Like, that isn't a hero quality in a movie. You wouldn't have that. The qualities that you show aren't like hero qualities. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so.
That's why he would be a villain.
It's so interesting watching his press conferences, because like he is like this like addiction for like people who have any interest in that type of thing, and the way that he. Like, people know, like, if you're in UFC and you're going up against him or whatever, like, you have to know exactly how he's going to react. Like, he's going to be spiteful, he's going to be really arrogant, he's going to put you down with, like, what, in all honesty, are fairly standard insults.
And they never change, do they?
No, it's like
It's always, you'll do nothing, you bum.
He's not from Newcastle. He's not fighting horses in that octagon.
That was my next link. Shit.
Like him fighting a horse.
The Newcastle fan that punched the horse.
Oh my god.
I've genuinely got it on my computer now. Fuck's sake.
More on him in a minute. But with McGregor, like, that's what he does, and they always let him into their head. Like, I don't know what it is. They're like not able to see it coming or something. Like, I couldn't believe it in the New York press conference when Alvarez was just. Like, he's just so fucking completely shook. Like, you can spin it all you want and say, no, he wasn't. But then when he was like, take off those glasses, and McGregor goes, make me. And then like got real serious and was like, make me. And then he took off the glasses to show him how serious he was. And Alvarez just went, see, you took them off. And they just, oh, you are so pathetic. That is absolutely pathetic. Like, that's a fucking L right there.
But he's everything they want to be.
Yeah.
In the world of UFC.
Yeah. But
I think it's not any different to what like Ali did in boxing like in the 60s and 70s, just being so arrogant, but it crosses that line of like being arrogant and charismatic. Like they're fighting against each other to be like, because he is quite clearly charismatic and people will follow that. Like you know, it's but then you press that fine line between the two, I think. But yeah,
he sells a fight like nobody has done since like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, well, it's exactly like the WWE had that with the Attitude Era, with like the fucking Rock Austin thing. Like both of them were like bad guys. Do you know what I mean? Neither of them were like what you would cast like a John Cena character, like the ultimate good guy.
Yeah, they're the anti-hero. It's.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But Muhammad Ali was actually a huge fan of WWE. Well, WWF.
Interesting.
Right. Fucking idiot, then, wasn't he?
Jack hates wrestling like nothing I've ever seen.
Fucking hell.
Calm down, Jack.
Yeah,
it's all the W's I hate. Wrestling, West Ham.
Name one other thing beginning with W that you hate.
Weird people.
He's got you there. I mean, that adds up.
He's not wrong.
Quality. Absolutely brilliant. But yeah, Conor McGregor, what a great guy.
Not a villain.
Conor McGregor, not a villain. That says it in his Twitter bio right here, guys.
I think if we're like talking about like to apply to like real life villains, he's not. But if you were to have a movie where you put real life people in a movie and make them the villain, he would have to be. You couldn't argue against that.
He'd be more likely to be a villain than a hero, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
It's like he almost wouldn't work as a hero because he's not quite like unaggressively charming and wink towards the camera like the Chris Pratt hero model of nowadays is.
No. Yeah.
And like he's too arrogant and like violent to be like there's no real like hero role that you could see him being in. Unless it was like he was like the violent sidekick guy who does violence that you explain away by the fact that he's crazy, and he's used as a plot device whenever you need him.
He's the best friend character.
Yeah.
In the movie, like in the fight movie, do you know what I mean? Like yeah.
The guy
you couldn't get away with that.
Have you seen the movie the Ben Affleck one where he does heists with his Boston buddies? The Town.
Yeah.
The
Town, yeah.
When he goes,
Jeremy Renner, you mean?
Is it Jeremy Renner? Yeah, where he's like, he goes into him and he's like, we need to hurt some people. I need you to help me. You can never ask me why. And he's just like, all right, let's do it. That kind of character.
He's in straight away,
yeah. Yeah. So that was a good discussion on Conor McGregor, I think. More on him, never. So the Newcastle fan who punched the horse, where do we stand on him? Hero or villain?
Hero. Hero. Yeah.
Real life hero.
Isn't it crazy that they made a statue of him in Newcastle? I just think that's out of order. You can't
it's crazy, yeah.
He deserves it though.
Do you see the
it's weird that he's right next. He's right next to the Ant and Dec statue, which is really strange.
The fact that they used, I'm kind of like, all right, they made a statue of him. Fair enough, whatever. But the fact that they used the first check of 350 million the day after Brexit that they were going to send to the EU, but now they didn't have to. The fact that they used that check to build the statue of the guy who punched the horse, I just think that's weird. Like,
the fact that it's 100
should have been
tall.
done sooner, though.
That 350 million should be going to the NHS, and we all know it.
Yeah, but I think the NHS can stand by.
What's more important when it comes down to it? Like,
yeah. Exactly.
This guy needs to be recognised.
I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad. I just think it's odd that they did that. Like a £350 million statue in the centre of Newcastle of the man punching the horse is pretty weird.
I think men punching horses has been funny since Blazing Saddles, so he's just a hero.
The fact that all the gyms in Newcastle don't have punching bags anymore. They just have horses that are like...
They have horses, yeah.
They're like dropped from the ceiling and they can't move their legs. I just think that's odd. I think that's a weird reflection on the town as a whole. Like, I just think that's strange. Like, that's not normal, I don't think, to be punching live horses instead of punching bags all the time. Again, not saying it's bad, but that's weird, isn't it?
It's a step back for like animal rights. That's obviously true.
Yeah.
But
sometimes these things are necessary.
They are necessary to move forward as a society, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
Someone would say natural selection.
Well, I think...
are we better than horses?
Well, this is...
Power ranking list.
Obviously, we do science to better the species of humans. Like, it's nothing to do with horses. So, in this instance, I would say it shows our dominance over that animal. Even though they're bigger than us, I might add. So, I guess in that sense, it does make some kind of logical... sense. And
if you watch the video, there's a policeman on the horse. It's already been domesticated, controlled by humans. Like,
yeah,
I mean, we've bested that horse and then we punched it in the face. So we're really showing that horse who's boss, and all horses in general.
There's a joke in there somewhere about how it was a policeman on the horse, so he technically fucked over a horse and a pig. Lol.
Two animals in one.
Your face, law enforcement.
That's a hit.
Yeah, but
horse lives matter.
Well, I think the opposite is true in Newcastle.
Yeah.
But the fact that the guy who punched the horse is representing Great Britain at Eurovision, that's odd.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's going to be the only artist in the history of Eurovision to not actually sing and to be on stage with a live animal and boxing gloves. It's just weird, you know?
Yeah.
Strange that it's allowed.
Well, he's the favourite to win. I mean, Europe is a weird place.
That's why he wanted to leave so bad.
I mean, now that Australia compete in it, it's not exactly out there.
We had to leave because EU rules strictly state that you shouldn't punch a horse.
Yeah.
So forget that 350 million quid. It's the horse punching we really need back.
Well, back in my day, you could punch a horse and no one would say anything about it.
Bloody Switzerland telling us what to do.
Switzerland is not in the EU.
I think it's Brussels that Jack means, but we'll go with Switzerland.
That's such a fucking thick English thing to say.
Fuck off.
Have you ever seen Eurotrip with Vinnie Jones?
No, because it's a terrible fucking film.
Well, you haven't seen it, so you can't.
How would you know?
But when he goes up to like the Swiss guards and he's like, "You fucking French pricks! I fucking hate every one of you!" And like goes into this monologue about how much he hates them, and the guy goes, "But we are Swiss," and Vinnie Jones like, "Well, them too." That's
why it's a terrible film.
Need to activate Brexit because I fucking hate Swiss.
The Switzerland not in the EU?
No.
I reckon they are.
Aaron, Google it.
Aaron, you got to You have permission. Let's play some music in the background.
No, that's not.
It's not Taylor Swift. Can't begin to. Switzerland is a member of the European Free Trade... No, don't go too soon. European Free Trade Association. And took part in negotiating the European Economic Area Agreement with the European Union.
No, not part of EU, then is it?
Can Switzerland show UK route to Brexit? Google's failed me.
It's not in the EU.
No, it hasn't. It's just it's not. You just read out the thing that told us that it's not in the EU.
They were in the EU though. It just said they were in other things.
Switzerland is neither
because
an
if
EU
it
nor
was
EEA
if it was
member.
in the EU, the first thing it would say would Switzerland is a member of the European Union.
Bruce, I didn't fucking ask you in the first place.
In 2001, 76.8% of Swiss voted against joining the EU. It's not part of the EU, fellas.
No, I asked you either.
I reckon they are. Blimey. Get your mobiles and laptops out in place.
That doesn't sound like me.
That's exactly how you sound, Jack.
That is as bad as my Conor McGregor.
No, it's not. Do your Conor McGregor.
I'm not doing it. I'm not monkey.
Do it.
I'm not doing it.
Do it, you prick. You said that you'd sing on episode 50.
No, you're a prick. Fuck off.
Sing Katy Perry.
No.
You said you would on episode 50. Remember, you promised.
No.
I cannot believe you're doing this. Oh my god, he's hung up.
Punchline wrong, I know you get me, so I let my walls come down. Before you met me, I was alright, but things were kinda heavy, and you brought me back to life in February. You'll be my Valentine, and let's go away tonight. No regrets, just love, and we can dance until we die. You and I will be young forever, and you make me feel like I'm living a teenage dream. The way you turn me on and I can't sleep. Let's run away and don't ever look back. Don't ever look back, baby.
So that's the end of that episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We're ending with the Horrible Crows and their cover of Teenage Dream by Katy Perry, because I think Brian Fallon and all of his many bands are like the unofficial spokesperson for music on the Midnight Hour. I find that I use any song related to Brian Fallon just way more often than I use like any other band and stuff like that. So we can't get Jack Brown to sing Katy Perry like he promised he would, but we'll definitely get Brian Fallon to do it, and that's a pretty cool thing. If you guys enjoyed the episode, please leave a like or whatever. That would be awesome. Leave a comment, go on the subreddit, say nice things. I'll see you guys next week for another episode of my weekly podcast. I've been El Dinero. Thank you very much for listening. Let you put your hands on me in my skin tight jeans, be your teenage dream tonight. Skin tight jeans be your teenage dream tonight. I'm gonna get your heart racing in my skin
tight jeans be your teenage dream tonight. Let you put your hands on me in my skin tight jeans be your teenage dream tonight.